Tonight, Governor Eric Greitens pushing back after being indicted earlier today on invasion of privacy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. A short time ago, the governor released a statement on his Facebook page. He said in part, quote, "The people of Missouri deserve better than a reckless liberal prosecutor who uses her office to score political points. I look forward to the legal remedies to reverse the action." His legal team filed a motion to dismiss the indictment. It says any activity the governor was engaged in was, quote, consensual.
The indictment for invasion of privacy is a Class D felony and comes amid allegations of Greitens taking a nude or partially nude photograph of a woman without consent. Court documents show that in March of 2015, before he was governor, Greitens knowingly photographed the woman and accused him of uploading the image to a computer. He was taken into custody, but a judge later released him. Court date has been set for March 16th.
KOMU 8's Claire Kopsky joins us live at the Capitol, where she's been since the indictment came down. And Claire, you've talked to a handful of lawmakers this evening. What's the tone there?
Emily and Jim, it has been a pretty quiet afternoon and evening here at the Capitol, but a few hours ago I did have the chance to speak with Senator Mike Kehoe about his thoughts on the governor's indictment. And although his frustrations were very evident, he also wants Missourians to know there are people inside this Capitol building fighting for Missourians. A day some in the Capitol had predicted, the indictment of Governor Eric Greitens.
I'm shocked and saddened, quite honestly, because the state of Missouri is a fantastic state that a lot of people love, and when you have something that sidetracks you like this, it's always a shock to the system.
Senator Kehoe expressed expecting more from a Navy SEAL as governor.
My concern is the governor's ability to lead the state. And the governor full well knows, as a Navy SEAL, that he understands the roles of responsibility and leadership. And it's my opinion that we should take that into consideration. We're going to have to figure out whether his abilities to lead the state going forward are something that he's able to do.
House Minority Leader Gail McCann Beatty spoke out today about her thoughts on the governor staying in office. She said, in part, it will be extremely difficult for the governor to effectively do his job with a felony indictment hanging over his head. House Speaker Todd Richardson, Speaker Pro Tem Elijah Haar, and Floor Leader Rob Vescovo released a joint statement today outlining what they plan to do going forward. The statement said in part, "We will carefully examine the facts contained in the indictment and answer the questions to whether or not the governor can lead our state while a felony case moves forward." Senator Caleb Rowden also weighed in today saying, "For the sake of our state, I am calling on Governor Greitens to put an end to this distraction and resign immediately." Kehoe says Missourians should know there are still people in the Capitol serving them.
Missouri's more than just one man. Missouri's more than just one individual. And we are a state of great people, great resources, and hardworking folks that know how to manufacture things, get the job done, know how to take care of our farms and take care of our industries. And that's what Missouri's about. It's more than just one person.
On Monday, Senator Kehoe says he'll be speaking to members about what their concerns are, and the House will also start an investigation. The senator says he does not know how to navigate something like this like the back of his hand, but he says that's probably a good thing. Reporting live inside the Capitol, Claire Kopsky, KOMU 8 News.
If lawmakers try to go through with an impeachment attempt, they'll kick off a process unlike many other states. It starts with the House Judiciary Committee. If approved, it moves to the full House for a vote. If the House approves the impeachment, it goes to trial. This is where Missouri's system is so much different. Instead of going to the Senate, it goes to the state Supreme Court. However, in Missouri's Constitution, if the person facing impeachment is the governor or a Supreme Court justice, it takes an entirely different route. The Senate would select a special commission of 7 eminent jurists to decide. If 5 or more members of that commission vote for impeachment, then the governor is out of office. Today was also a big day for Mizzou sports. The athletic director is getting sued for defamation.
And a top player could be joining his team back on the court. KOMU 8 sports director Chris Trevino joins us now. And Chris, Packer fans, they want to see MPJ back on the floor.
That seems to be the sentiment I've gathered from them, and it could be one step closer to happening, Emily and Jim. He's only been on the court for 2 minutes. Michael Porter Jr. played 2 minutes in the season opener against Iowa State, but now fans holding out hope that the forward might soon return for the Tigers. Porter hurt in the season opener in November. He underwent micro disc surgery on his back on November 21st, was expected to miss the entire season. He's missed most of the season. Late this afternoon, though, John Rothstein of CBS Sports reported Porter's been cleared to resume basketball activities. Now, there's no confirmation from Porter or Missouri that he's been cleared. One thing, though, has been made clear to us in recent weeks by Coach Cuonzo Martin. He's let us all know multiple times, right, he's not just going to show up and play in a game. Porter would need significant practice time and not be rushed into any game, even if he is cleared to resume basketball activities.
There's a press conference, a
regularly scheduled press conference tomorrow morning when certainly this will be addressed.
I know what the top topic will be.
We'll hear from Missouri tomorrow, if not today.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
You all may remember the tension from the Missouri women's basketball game at South Carolina in late January. Well, things are about to get a little more interesting.
The Gamecocks head coach filed a defamation lawsuit against MU's athletic director. KOMUH's Olivia Gerling talked to an MU law professor to get more insight on the case.
Right, Emily and Jim, the issue here is whether Gamecocks coach Dawn Staley is considered a public figure. The law professor I talked to today says that's central to this type of case.
We're talking about defamation.
Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the lawsuit. In a defamation case, courts split plaintiffs into two categories: public officials and public figures, and private individuals. So the main question will be what the court considers Staley.
How you're categorized makes all the difference on how likely you are to succeed in a defamation suit.
Which means if the court says Staley is a public figure, she will have a harder time winning. Now, Staley is seeking $75,000 in damages. In the studio, Olivia Gerling, KOMU8 News.
Well, we've hopefully escaped the ice out there, but how is the rest of the week shaping up? Let's send it over to Kenton with a check of your forecast. Hey, Kenton. All right, Kenton, thank you very much. Special counsel Robert Mueller filed new charges today against former Trump campaign aides Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. The 32-count indictment includes charges for tax and bank fraud crimes. It alleges the two laundered more than $30 million. The former aides were previously charged in October for conspiracy, money laundering, and more. The charges are not directly tied to their work for the Trump campaign. They're related to lobbying work for pro-Russian politicians in Ukraine.
The school resource deputy on duty during the Florida school shooting resigned today over his alleged inaction. Scott Peterson apparently waited outside the building for about 4 minutes without ever going in. He was armed and in uniform. The Broward County Sheriff suspended Peterson this morning after reviewing surveillance video and talking to witnesses, including the deputy.
I think he got on his radio at a point in time, and he took up a position where it looked like he could see the westernmost entry into the building and stayed where he was. Never went in.
The sheriff said the deputy should have, quote, went in, addressed the killer, and killed the killer.
The Missouri parents talking a lot about guns in schools. This as the president and the NRA are looking at school safety as well. We heard from parents who say they would pull their kids from school if teachers carried guns. Others say they'd be okay with it as long as the teachers were properly trained. We also heard from a grandmother who says teachers don't need this extra responsibility.
If you want to have armed security personnel in each school, that's fine, that's acceptable. But to ask teachers who are trained to teach to bear arms to protect the children and to protect themselves, I think is grossly unfair.
Current Missouri law says any school district may designate one or more elementary or secondary school teachers, as well as administrators, as school protection officers. How a proposed bill could have you spending a little extra cash at the DMV.
Plus what a MoDOT grant could do to help things in Callaway County.
Callaway County deputies seeking a $9,000 grant, how the money could help prevent dangerous road accidents.
With 5 DWIs so far this year in Callaway County, the Sheriff's Office is hoping to improve road management with a MoDOT grant. The more than $9,000 grant would allow every deputy to have his or her own breathalyzer. The department owns 10 right now. Breathalyzers are also used to determine if drivers are under the influence of drugs. Next month, the Sheriff's Office will meet with MoDOT to see if the grant is approved.
A new bill proposed in Jefferson City today would mean spending more money at the DMV but cutting tax rates. Representative Elijah Hare proposed House Bill 2540 today. The bill would make renewing your license cost $7 more every 6 years, and it would cost about $29 more than it already does to get tags for your vehicle. This bill also calls for a drop in personal and corporate income tax to 5%. It was senior night tonight at Mizzou Arena.
Tiger highlights coming up next. Coming up on KOMU 8 News after the Olympics, after the Florida shooting, President Trump calls for teachers to be armed.
We'll have reaction from Florida teachers and administrators on this proposal. Kenton. It'll be nice.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of high school highlights tonight.
We got a lot of games. We got playoffs for the smaller schools, including a 1-point game for Tolton. We've got regular season final games for the bigger schools. So it's all going on now.
All right. You know, first wrestling ends, and then basketball ends, and then it's time to warm things up.
Let's hope it warms up soon.
I hope so too.